Okay, I've pressed broadcast.
Now you can see participants joining in. 8 participants have already joined.
So not, can they hear us?
Yeah, now they can hear us because you already opened them.
Okay, okay.
Can you start, Shukalanji?
Yeah, I think we should start right now. Yeah, Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good
Kalaji,
evening. Yeah, good evening, everybody. It gives us immense pleasure in welcoming webinar for business standard we have organized. Business standard, is a premium financial daily having existence across 13 editions and India Voice, and known for its credibility in reporting of the highest standard in professionalism and unbranded analysis. BS covers topics ranging from smart investments, economy, companies, money markets, and stocks. So now, what has happened during this time, particularly in the times of COVID right now, is that the COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we live and interact with various categories. What it has done, particularly for newspaper people like us, is that it has evoked a palpable change in behavior, especially with regards to the average time spent on newspapers reading, which has gone up significantly based on various surveys conducted. We right now have noticed a strong preference for the print version, but there is a big, given the distribution challenges which we are facing in some of the markets in India Voice, there is a temporary shift to the e-paper version to the next best alternative which we are having. News. Business Standard is sought after more for its credible and unrated reporting. In fact, we are the first newspaper in the country, if I'm not wrong, to put the paper behind paywall almost 3 years back. We discussed the consumption of download and forwarded version of the newspaper, as that can be misleading at many times to our society. We invest a lot of time. We invest a lot of time in sense we invest a lot of effort and money in content creation and curation. The move to put our offerings behind a paywall for a token annual charge of 14.99 for a year, or maybe one monthly 199 charges a month, demonstrates its value and the respect it deserves. Now, particularly talking about this webinar which we are talking about, and in terms of the issues we are trying to put up in various of the webinars we are doing right now. So we are trying to bridge the gap between our prospective readers and bringing in guest lecturers, industry experts along in front of the esteemed audiences, rather the readership which we have, Business Standard particularly. Now, talking about today's event, we would like to welcome all the audiences and the guest lecturer, Dr. D.P. Nandy. Now, Dr. D.P. Nandy has obtained his PhD in economics as USG fellow from North Bengal University. He is a postgraduate in commerce from Calcutta University and an MBA from ISWBM Kolkata. If I'm not wrong, ISWBM may be the oldest, if not the one of the oldest institutes, MBA institutes in India. He is a fellow member of the IC of India and Institution of Values India. He is also a member of Operational Research Society UK and India Health Association. He has a vast experience in conducting as well as in teaching profession and research. So I would like to welcome Dr. Nandy to take on with the today's proceedings, Trade Valuers Bill 2020 with the audiences. Over to you, Dr. Nandy.
Yeah. Very good evening, and thank you, Shukurlanji and the team Business Standard. So give me an opportunity to present the draft valuers bill before the August audience. So actually, this is a very new bill, the draft bill as such, which has been placed before the Ministry of Corporate Affairs only in the month of April. And even till 28th of May, any suggestions, comments from the stakeholders or anybody, they can give the comments on the bills, on any issues, any para, any sections on that. So I will try to highlight, the time is short, I will try to highlight certain areas of the bills and the certain sections of the bills, as well as if some pertinent questions that comes from the participants after listening my presentation. So I can take few of the questions. So now I will just share my screen with the presentation. I just request Shukurlanji, if somewhere in between my presentation, if that voice or some sound or photograph may be disrupted, you just let me inform. That will
Yeah,
help me.
absolutely, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Now I'm sharing my screen with the presentation. Yeah. So this is the Draft Valuers Bill 2020. Myself, Dr. D.P. Nandy. I'm the Senior Director of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India and CEO of ICMAI, Registered Valuers Organization. Our organization is also one of the important stakeholder under this Valuers Bill. So today, these are my agenda points that we'll discuss one by one. Uh, and I have taken all this information from the Draft Valuers Bill. Altogether, there is a preamble as well as the draft bill. Altogether, 170-80 pages are there. But I have taken some important areas of the bill so that the discussion may be interesting and you can have some good interest over the bill. Otherwise, this type of things becomes boring if it is not properly presented. So my discussion points will be today, the valuation profession as an institution, the valuation profession in India, a recommended institutional framework that has been suggested by the committee of experts, the role of the institute, what are the different asset classes for valuation, what is the educational courses that is being offered, that will be offered, examinations procedure, course delivery, internship, valuer institutes, course fee, entry examination, exit examination, continuing professional education, valuation profession organization, experience that will be required to become a valuer, full-time and part-time practice, development of the profession of valuation as such, number of valuers presently in India, valuation education and training, demand for valuation services, individual and entities, code of conduct and ethics, outsourcing, valuation standards, transition and implementation, and few general observations. And then lastly, I will go through the Draft Valuers Bill 2020 that we are talking about, and as well as some important sections of the draft bill. Presently, I just want to give a brief introduction because there may be some participants in this forum who are not acquainted with this valuation arena. So actually, in 2013 Companies Act, a section came is 247 regarding this registered valuer organizations, and IBBI was formed. And under IBBI, from 2007, end of 2017, a valuers rule came. 2017 valuers rule has been developed, and there are a few registered valuers organization. They are the front line regulators who are providing this educational domain for the registered valuers, and they give examinations under IBBI, and they become gradually the registered valuers. And there are certain criteria to become a registered valuers. If you are interested in securities and financial assets, then they must be the professionals from either Chartered Institute, Costing Institute, or Company Secretary, or a postgraduate in finance. And for land and building, he or she must be an engineer in the field of civil engineering and allied field. And for plant and machinery, he or she must be an engineer in the field of electrical or mechanical engineering or allied field. So this is the basic background. And now IBBI has drafted a well-drafted bill. This is called Draft Valuers Bill 2020 before the Ministry of Corporate Affairs in the month of April. And we'll discuss certain issues of the bills one by one. So firstly, the valuation profession as an institution. So a very brief idea, a person who estimates the worth is a valuer. The process of estimation is valuation. and the worth so estimated is the value. So valuer, valuation and value, there is a chain. The value of an asset is what the price ought to be in the given context. The valuation is accurate. And this is a very complex process, this valuation. That is why it involves several judgments and mix up competencies. So because you don't have that competency to judge, because this is very much judgmental, you cannot value properly. So this is the basis, very basis of the valuation. And what is the situation in India valuation profession? Because there is not much courses on educational courses on valuation in India. Uh, though the profession has been developed as an independent multidisciplinary profession, for many practitioners of valuation, it is part-time vocation. Actually, this is a very complex thing, this valuation. But in case of practicing professionals, they take it as a part-time vocation, not as a full-time thing. So that is one interesting part. That is why this committee of experts that was formed last year, 2019, taking the experts in this field. So they felt that there is an urgent need for comprehensive statutory institutional framework, because there is not much regulation in it and not much comprehensive statutory institutional framework. So on the basis of their recommendation, COE recommended to establish a National Institute of Valuers, shortly NIV, a particular institute. This is called a National Institute of Valuers. They are having two basic objectives. One is to protect the interest of users of valuation services in India. That means those who are taking the valuation services. Number two is to regulate the profession of valuers, because this was mostly unregulated. Now it is bit regulated after the valuer rules has come into place, but still a valuer bill was very much required. That was felt by the committee of experts formed by several important personalities. So what will be the role of the institute? Here you should remember that institute means this National Institute of Valuation, NIV. They are the institute referred to here. So their role will be, they will register and regulate valuer institute. They will form few valuer institute would offer the courses, because this will be actually basically, I just give a brief idea. It will be basically a three-tier system. On the top level, it will be NIV, National Institute of Valuer. In the middle level, there will be valuer institutes, and will be the lower level will be the valuer professional organization. We'll come to these items one by one later on. And with this, the gamut of this scenario, that valuers will be prepared and the valuers will be groomed with the help of this structure of valuation. That is the framework. So they conduct the screening examinations for admission, this National Institute, to a course, and qualifying examination for registration as a valuer. That means, although the course will be conducted by Valuer Institute, but the examination, that is the main issue, that will be in the hand of National Institute of Valuers. They will be doing these examinations thoroughly. And it would ensure high quality education by laying down syllabus, the curriculum syllabus that will be developed by this National Institute. And the another interesting thing is that an examination and incentivizing research and publication. The first time this words is coming, research and publication, that has been highly referred in several areas under this draft bill and its preamble. So there are basically three asset classes. Also, it has been mentioned, it has been already referred in Valuers Rule 2017. Three asset classes has been identified. One is land and building, plant and machinery, number two, and number three is the securities and financial assets. So these three asset classes are to be covered under this valuation primarily. And an individual may be registered as a valuer, and he or she may have a certificate of practice asset class wise, because a valuer has to be qualified under each of the asset classes separately if he or she has to work on the different asset classes. And again, it is written in the third point that he may be registered as a valuer for more than one asset class and may have certificate of practice of more than one asset class simultaneously. That means a person can be a valuer for more than one asset classes, maximum for these three asset classes simultaneously, or one asset class, or two asset class, or three asset classes. Now, interestingly, the educational courses. Presently, the structure is that RVOs, registered valuers organizations, they are conducting 50 hours educational courses on valuation. But now the things will be a bit different. I'm just explaining here. Students should consider valuation profession as an option while making a career choice after 10+2 level. The authority, they are thinking that committee of experts, COE, they are thinking that it will be better if students after high secondary, passing high secondary, they will be involved in these valuation courses. That will be better for this valuation movement or this valuation domain, so that they'll be capable enough when they'll become more matured with their experience. The institute expects to attract talented, professionally qualified individuals as well as bright individuals with relevant experience to join in the profession. The COE therefore recommends that an individual may join the profession on completing any of the courses. Now, what are the courses? This is the most interesting area of the presentation. So there are basically three types of courses that this bill suggesting. That is, first one is the National Valuation Program, NVP. This will be basically 4-year integrated full-time course. Okay, nowadays, you know, this is like graduation, new education bills that has been placed where instead of 3 years graduation, now it is trending towards 4 years graduation, like the engineering courses. Under this 4-year, 1 year will be compulsory internship in the particular field, and the basic qualification will be high secondary, passing the high secondary examination. The second stage will be not second stage. This will be the second type category of valuer. They will come from this will be graduate valuation program, and this will be basically a 2-year full-time professional course, which includes an internship of 1 year, 1+1. Earlier on was the 3+1, as because they are not graduate. Here the graduates, they can have 1+1 courses, 1+1 year courses. And thirdly, there is a scope for limited valuation program. This is basically 400-hour course that can be done by the professionals. This is a professional course if he or she does not have relevant qualification, but has been rendering valuation services as a valuer for at least 5 years. If there is a person who don't have the relevant qualification, but who are having more than 5 years of experience in valuation field, they are eligible for this limited valuation program, and they'll become the valuer. The eligibility through this program shall be available only for 2 years initially. So with these three routes, one can go for these educational courses. Now the examinations. On completing the course, there will be generic subject credits, specific subject credits, and practices credits, and there will be some examination. Course delivery, how this course will be delivered. The NIV would recognize universities who are already in this valuation field, the institutes, and the VPOs. Who will be the VPOs? VPOs means presently who are working as RVO, registered valuer organization. They will be converted into VPOs. They will be treated as valuer institute, who will be going through this course delivery channel partner of NIV, and they will be actually imparting this course, whether 4 years or 2 years or 400 hours courses, that will be delivered by these valuer institutes, these universities, institutes, and VPOs. Okay, would let them deliver courses strictly as per the prescribed norms and compete among themselves for excellence and monitors and reviews their performance. So NIV will be the controlling authority, they will be the monitoring authority, they will monitor how these valuer institutes will perform, and valuer institute has to deliver the courses as per the syllabus, as per the curriculum framed by the NIV. So internship, that is an unique feature of this course, 1 year internship that has been recommended, because without this internship or training that is there in the professional courses, like medical courses, there is a scope for internship, like chartered accountancy internship, like cost accountancy, company secretary, everywhere there is a scope for 1 year or more than 1 year internship. So it has been recommended here this internship in valuation. Valuer institutes. Valuer institute is very important for this bill because Valuer institute will impart the education for the students, maybe 4 years, 2 years, or 400 hours. That is why I've just mentioned in red color. NIV will be they will check the faculty, research, training, and library. These are very important from the perspective of Valuer Institute. And every year, NIV will they will see the performance of this Valuer institutes, how they are performing, how the students are passing in the examinations, their quality of research, publications, everything. Even the last point is very important. The registration of an institute where the percentage of students who pass the exit examination is considerably below a specified percentage should be revoked. Maybe the Valuer Institute's registration may be revoked by the NIV. Wherever such revocation happens, students should be accommodated in other institute, Valuer Institute, to facilitate seamless completion of the course. That means there will be a strict guidelines how to go for this training, coaching, research, okay, and the faculty, library, everything. So this is about course fee. What will be the course fee? That will be what COE refers here, that it should be market driven, and it should be they should not impose any type of course fee. But however, the institute should arrange financial support in case of deserving students, and the regulator should intervene if a valuer institute charges an unreasonable amount of fee. That means it will be like an MBA college or engineering college that will be market driven, the course fee, because it will be 4-year course or 2-year course, whatever it may be, depending upon the years, facilities given, faculties, research, everything. The course fee and the branding of the institute, the course fee will vary. The entry examination, that is an interesting area because presently for this valuation, there is no such entry examination. There is an exit examination, but there will be an entry examination as well as the exit examination. It will be centrally administered, like the CAT examination for the MBA aspirant or the MAT examination. Okay, so this will be like for the engineering examination, joint entrance. So there will be centrally administered entry examination through which, that means National Institute of Valuation, they want the best professionals. They should come in the valuation professional through these entry examinations. There will be exit examinations after completing 4 years course, after completing 2 years or 400 hours, whatever it may be. They should be conducted centrally by the institute. That means the National Institute of Valuers. So that means there are two types of examination: entry and exit. Both will be centrally monitored by the National Institute of Valuers. So Valuer Institute will only be imparting their education, and the examination will be conducted by the National Institute of Valuers. Continuing professional education, that is an important aspect. Like the professional institutes, we know without the continuing professional education, like the seminars, conference, workshops, training, because they can pass, they can be professionally treated as a valuer, but if they cannot be upgraded with the latest avenues, latest domains, latest fields of the valuation on regular basis, with the international experiences, global flavor in it, so they cannot be a good valuer, and they cannot be sustain their valuer as a valuer for a long-term basis. That is why, with specific credit hours, they should be given this continuing professional educations. So, valuer professional organizations. Who will be the VPO? Valuer professional organizations. The VPOs will be that presently who are the RVOs, registered valuer organization. They will be converted into the VPO. They are actually the frontline regulators who will be delivering this CPE, that is continuing professional educations, other trainings, any developments, advocacy, research for the members of valuer members, and they can also become the valuer institute if they are eligible, they are interested, and they would have some good infrastructure. They can become the valuer institute who can be imparting this valuation education for the students. So this is VPO, or valuation professional organizations. So experience. So experience we have seen earlier also. For the graduate students or the higher secondary plus students, they will gather the experience through internship of 1 year, because they may not have that requisite year of experience. But there will be a limited valuation course for 400 hours, where we have seen that at least a 5 years professional experience should be there. That experience should be acquired to go for these limited valuation courses. That means the whole structure, this structure framework, the experience internship has got very important feature under this bill. Now the case of full-time and part-time practice. What we have seen that valuation has been taken as a part-time profession so far, but due to these intricacies, its vast opportunities, and its involvement of time and energy in this field, that COE they recommends initially, although initially there may not be all full-time thing, but slowly it can be a full-time, it can be developed as a full-time profession, this valuation profession. Although they are recommending, there are particularly two classes of registered valuers. One will be a class who has certificate of practice, who is entitled to practice full-time, and the other class who don't have certificate of practice, who are not entitled to practice as such. Okay, so there may be two classes of registered valuers that will be developed, who is having a certificate of practice, who is not having the certificate of practice. This is a development of profession. Actually, everything is from the point of view of this National Institute of Valuation can be developed in view of developing a full-time valuation practitioners. Like the doctors who they are full-time professionals in the field of medical science, lawyers, they are full-time professionals in the field of legal parlance, like chartered accountants. There are full-time practices, cost accountants, company secretaries. In the same way, now the COE, that is the committee of experts, they have recommended that this valuation profession should be developed in India as a full-time professionals or as a full-time valuation practitioners like the other professionals. It cannot be a part-time profession, although in the initial years there may be some hitch up and there may be some part-time practicing thing, but in the long run there should be only full-time valuation practitioners. So that is another important aspect. What is the number of valuers presently? From where we can project what is the requirement. So it is not as much as we require as an economy of Indian economy. Okay, so 140 crores of people in India. So source from 2020 and 29th February, actually it is wrongly mentioned in the bill 2019, it should be 2020. The total number as on 29th February, the valuers number is 2910, that is around 3000, where a land and building covers 1578, that is around 50% are in the field of land and building. Plant and machinery is around 10%, 314, and securities and financial assets is around 40%, 1018. This is the present structure, around 3000 professionals, sorry, who are engaged in valuation profession till 29th February 2019, because this new valuers rule, it has came only in 2017, and these educational courses has started from what I believe it is from May 2018. That means this number has been collected from last 1.5 years figure. Sorry, the maximum 2 years figure. So this is the number. So as the time passes, the number will be increased. So this is the scenario.
Mr. Nandy, you're mute. Hello.
From the bill, where the valuer can give their expertise, can impart their expertise, and they can work under this act. But nowadays, presently, only two specific areas, that is Companies Act 2013 by virtue of Section 247 and the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code 2016. Okay, so and the valuers rule 2017 that has empowered the present structure of present valuers to work on the valuation issues only under these two areas, but there are other areas, huge areas like Banking Regulations Act 1949, Wealth Tax Act 1957, Income Tax Act, Suffrazi Act, the Limited Liability Partnership LLP Act, Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA, that Black Money and Imposition of Tax Act, Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI Act. So there are so many areas that is untapped so far that can be included under this bill, that is already included in the bill. If the bill be get passed, there will be sky's the limit for the valuers, because there will be an ample opportunity for the valuers to work under all these areas, not only in the Companies Act, not only in the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Their opportunities will be now in all the areas where valuation work can be done. So this is the most interesting part of this presentation or the bill, where the valuer can work. This is individual and entities, because individual they can be a valuer, as well as entities, partners like that companies, they can be a valuer. So it is presently there. So we can skip this slide. This is code of conduct and ethics everywhere. This is the most important. Valuation being a niche area to where we can give service. So code of conduct and ethics are the buzzwords. The institute should lay down a model of code of conduct and the ethics, and it is to be modified to keep it relevant with the time, with the passage of time. So this is important. And outsourcing. So the law must prohibit a valuer from outsourcing valuation services. It has been seen earlier also that sometimes valuation services is being outsourced by the valuer. That should be strictly prohibited. Valuation standards, although we are having some international valuation standards, but as such, no Indian valuation standards that is under process, that is to be in place very soon. That committee of experts, they have felt that necessity of having an uniformity in approach of valuation, like the accounting standard, Indian accounting standard, cost accounting standard. There are so many standards in several areas, but not as such in this valuation field. So that is under process. That should be in place as soon as possible. This transition and implementation, CO is conscious that it would take some time for the institutional arrangement that would deliver national and graduate valuation program to come up. They think that COE think that it will take maybe some time to go for this transition and implementation. And it is very likely that the institutes and universities were presently offering valuation courses, particularly the post-graduation ones, should be able to register themselves as valuation institutes to offer the courses without loss of time. And now I have just finished my first part, that is the preamble part of my presentation. And with this preamble part, I just take my presentation through the Draft Valuers Bill 2020, which is having basically 6 parts in it. The first part is the preliminary part. Second part is the National Institute of Valuers. The third part is the discharge of functions by institute. The fourth part is the valuation services. Then the fifth part, the offenses and penalties, and the sixth part is the miscellaneous. Out of this sixth part, that has been actually, it is this, particularly this valuers bill is around 50 pages, 52 pages like that. Okay, so I have identified few important areas, sections under this draft valuers bill that we can discuss, because we cannot discuss within 1 hour time framework all the issues, all the points under the valuers bill. That is why I have given an elaborative discussion on the preamble, so that you can have in your mind an idea about the valuers bill, how it can work, what is its scope of work, and how the professionals they can become registered valuers. all these things. So I have identified few major areas, sections under this valuers field. So these may be, I have also mentioned some pages here, important sections. Committee of Valuers, page 126 in the bill. Evaluation Standards Committee is there, page 127. Then I have jumped into asset classes, 47, page 147. The left hand side I have mentioned the section, and right hand side I have mentioned the pages. Page number 143 is the asset classes. Section 48 that has defined classes of valuers. It has been defined in page 144. Then 49 section is the eligibility. It is mentioned only eligibility. That is why I mentioned in red ink that eligibility of whom? Eligibility of valuers. That is in page 144. Then section 50 deals with registration of valuers. That is that is placed in page 146 of the bill. Section 51 deals with certificate of practice, COP, page 147. We have already discussed everything about it, but now we have to discuss the what bills is saying about this. Then again it is written in section 52, eligibility of whom? Eligibility of BPO, that is the valuer professional organization, 147 page number. Then 53 section, registration as valuation professional organization, page 147. Then 54 section, functions of a valuation professional organization, page 148. Then 55, registration as a valuer institute, page 149. Then educational courses, page 149 again. And 57 section, examinations, page 150. And I think that will end my presentation. But I will discuss it, these sections, through another PDF that will I'll directly guide to. I'll be guided to the PDF file of the draft valuers bills. So this presentation will be ended here because you just see this slide also. If you have any suggestions or comments or anything on this draft valuers bill, those who are interested, stakeholders, common persons, they can put their suggestions, any views, latest by 28th May 2020 in the MCA website, Ministry of Corporate Affairs website. This is open, and the link is like that, feedapp.mca.gov.in. You can visit this site and you can put your comments or suggestions or anything if you want to add, you can add there. Okay, so now I'll be just going back to my PDF presentation. I think Sukullanji, everything is sound is okay.
Yes, sir. Sound is okay.
Okay, okay.
Question in the box. If you feel you can attend this question right now also, or you can later.
Yeah. So I'll just refer to that PDF file. Yeah. I'll just straightforward, we'll go to section 47 of this draft valuers rule. Yeah. So I think this PDF file is visible from there. Sukulandi, it is visible?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, fine. So this is the this is the draft valuers bill as such, which has been placed already. So asset classes, which has been referred in section 47. I will touch upon only the important aspects because time is short, 10-15 minutes time is there. So there are three specific asset classes. Specify the asset class, add or delete any asset class, expand the limit or expand or limit the scope of an asset. There are three options they have given. You have to specify the asset classes. That three may be land and building, plant and machinery, and securities and financial assets. You can add many asset classes, other asset classes, or delete something. or expand the scope of the asset classes or limit the scope of the asset classes. Everything is there. So now the section 48, that is the classes of valuers. What will be the classes of value? There will be 4 classes of valuers. There will be valuation entities, any company, firm, there will be individual valuation entities, associate valuers, okay, associate valuers AV, fellow valuers, they will be who will be there in for 5 years, there will be fellow valuers, associate value, an individual subject to eligibility under section 49 provisions shall be registered associate valuer, and after getting 5 years of experience there will be fellow valuers. And number 4 is an honorary valuer. That means any eminent personalities or persons with eminence, okay, they can be prefixed as honorary valuer, recognition for such an extraordinary contribution in the field of valuation. Now the section 49. Section 49 deals with the eligibility of the valuers. Okay. That we have already defined earlier, that there may be 3 types. One is having higher secondary pass, having graduation, and limited valuation thing, that is 400 hours, and already those who have passed in the various asset classes and having completed specific hours of training. That means the existing valuation course that is being offered by the registered valuer organization as per the course or syllabi defined by IBBI, they are doing it, the 50 hours course, they can be automatically be converted into the valuers under this new regime of this valuers bill 2020. Here the eligibilities are given, present eligibilities, like for asset classes, plant and machinery, 5 years experience, graduate in mechanical, electrical, electronic, like that. In land and building, civil, architecture, okay, and as well as the postgraduate. If you are postgraduate, 3 years, that is MTech, ME, that in that case 3 years. If you are a graduate, 5 years. In case of financial assets, a chartered accountant, company secretary, and cost accountant, and as well as postgraduate in finance, master of business administration, postgraduate in diploma in business management with 3 years of experience, they are eligible. So those, that means, say for example, as per the chart we have seen, already we are having 3,000 valuers in our hand, so they will be automatically converted into the valuers under this new regime. So now section will deal with section 50, that is registration of valuers. A person who is eligible under section 49, that is the earlier section I've just mentioned, as per the eligibility, they will be enrolled with a valuation professional organization as a member. With a BPO, they will have to become a member of the BPO and may make an application to the institute in such manner, in such form, and with such fee as may be specified for certificate of registration as under. So there will be a certain process of registration by which a valuer can be registered under this National Institute of Valuers as well as the BPO, Valuer Professional Organization. Now section 51 is the COP, Certificate of Practice. Okay, so that is then important. Who can do the practice? So no person shall act as a valuer or hold out as a valuer except under and in accordance with the certificate of registration. First you have to get the certificate of registration. Then if you are eligible, then you will get the registration. If you have the registration, then you will get the certificate of practice. This is a process altogether. So then the interesting part is the valuation professional organization, BPO, that I've already mentioned that presently those organizations who are registered valuer organization, RVO, they will be converted into valuation professional organization. So this is section 52. They must be actually eligibility. One of the eligibility criteria is this type of organization should be a section 8 company and other promoters, directors, other conditions is there. And registration as a valuation professional. No person shall carry on functions as valuation professional organization except under and in accordance with the certificate of registration issued in this behalf by the institute. That means they have to be registered under the Institute of Valuers. So here also it is mentioned that notwithstanding to anything contained in section 52, a registered valuers organization presently who are operating, who are giving, imparting the education, RVOs, which is recognized under Companies Registered Valuers and Valuation Rules 2017, made under Companies Act 2013, 18 of 2013, as on date of commencement of provision of this chapter, shall be deemed to be a valuation professional organization registered under this Act. So this is all about VPO and what will be their function. So this VPO's functions will be limited to point number 2. You can see they will promote the professional development, that is the CPE things, continuing professional education, ethical conduct, monitoring the activity of the members, how they are doing the valuation, their report and everything. They will take care of that, which is as per the in accordance with the Act rules, everything. Is there any grievances that should be redressed, safeguard the rights and privileges of its members, and other functions like maybe research publications. So there may be other functions that BPO can do. And earlier we have also seen that BPO can be treated as a valuer institute also, who will be imparting those education if it is registered under the NIV with prior eligibility conditions, fulfilling prior eligibility conditions. So now we are mostly at the end of the bill, that is valuation education. So now the valuation education, the first comes the registration as a valuer institute. This is defined under section 55 of the draft valuers bill 2020. Who can be a valuer institute? Already we have said that university, institute, as well as these valuer professional organizations, they can be treated as a valuer institute. They should be registered under the NIV with proper eligibility. And now the educational courses. So what will be the educational courses? A valuer institute shall deliver educational courses in accordance with the syllabus and in the manner of delivery as may be specified. That means in case of syllabus curriculum development, this valuer institute will have no role. That NIV, National Institute of Valuers, they will frame the curriculum and guidance, everything. In that way, they have to, like the university structure. University, they develop the course curriculum, and the colleges and institutes, they follow that thing, and they just only carry on the delivering of the courses. Similar way that NIV will act, and this valuer institute will impart the education. Levy of such fee, that is the course fee, and financial support to the students. So these are also there in the educational courses. And the examinations, the examinations is the vital part. Already you have defined. There will be entry examination, exit examinations. Entry examination will be a national test like that, and the exit examination, both the examinations will be done by the NIV, and it will be centrally monitored. Even now, under this regime, present regime, the examination is controlled by IBBI, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India. They are taking the examinations, and as well as in this regime also, the examinations will be conducted by the NIV with a central monitoring system. So with this presentation and that little bit about the various aspects of the valuers bill, I would like to conclude my presentation because our time is very short. During this short period, I have already covered all the agenda points that I am having, that I've showed in the very beginning. And I have divided my presentation into two parts basically. The first one is the preamble part. That is the basis of the valuers bill. And on the basis of that, I have shown typical sections where the participants may have some interest. And now if the participants, they can sail through the valuers bill, okay, they can have a more grip about the bill, and they can be in a position to comment or suggest something or some value addition in the bill, because that comment section is still open with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So, Shukurlanji, can I take one
sir.
or two questions?
Sir, yeah. Remove the screen, let people see you.
Yes, just
requesting all the participants to ask questions in Q&A box, or they can raise their hand so we can ask you to ask the question to Dr. Nandy.
If Shukulanji or somebody, if you can help me, what is the question?
So we will read the question for you. Once the question is there is already one question there. The first question is there any exemption for students who have cleared CMA final?
Who have cleared CMA final, that is, who is a cost accountant. Okay. So in this valuers bill, regarding this thing, it is absent. I have not seen any thing about this thing. But what I can say that if somebody, a CMA, who has cleared the present, in the present regime, who is become a registered valuer, they will be directly converted into the valuers in that regime also. Okay, so I have not seen any type of this type of exemption in the valuers. That is my answer in brief.
That means, is it possible to ask, go to the bill and ask them to add them?
Definitely, we can. If some participant they have the questions in his mind, they can directly mention this thing in the portal, MCA portal, and they can put these suggestions there.
So Rachel Rodriguez, this is for you. You can go to the bill and answer the question. So next question we have is, currently CMA and RVO can do both practice. As per a draft bill, it can continue. This is from Ashish Bowser.
Yeah. Oh, Ashish ji, okay, fine. So yeah, so what I have seen or I have gone through the draft bill, what is their sense actually? I have to take the sense. So their sense is that in the initial years, there may be some part-time things. They can do X, they can do Y, like that. It will continue. But their intention is to make it as a full-time profession. They have already mentioned. I have already mentioned that, like a doctor, like a chartered accountant, or like a advocate. Okay, even a cost accountant in full-time practice. Okay, so they want to build up this valuation course as a full-time profession. So that is their long-term view. In the long run, they want valuers should do only valuation work, nothing else. But in presently, due to shortage of valuer or whatever it may be, or some initial things, it may be relaxed that there may be some part-time options. That is my view on that after reading that bill and this preamble. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pilan, just go to participant, click on attendees. Mr. Sushant Kanar wants to ask a question. So enable
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. There is another question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another question is from Sanmoy Malik. Is there any course like MBA in valuation, and how to start such courses in university level?
Okay, so that is another perspective, because I have not seen MBA in valuation as such. That I have to check from the website and like that. But I think this the major thrust of this National Institute of Valuers to make this institute like a professional institutes like the MBA institutes or like that alike. So the valuer bill will intend to make the professionals like the MBA professionals also. That is why presently MBA finance persons, they are only entitled, along with the chartered cost and company secretary, they are only entitled for this valuation professionals. Not even a MCOM. We have seen a case earlier, one or two cases. Not even a MCOM, only MCOM. He is not entitled for this course. So I think this will be this National Institute of Valuers, and these valuer institutes, they will emerge as or they can go for this type of MBA valuation things in the years to come.
Yeah.
There is another question.
Doctor. Agnello. Dr. Sushanto Karar has a question.
Yeah, so you click him.
Yeah, Dr. Sushanto Karar, can you hear us?
Yeah, he can hear you, but you have to click him. He is mute.
I have unmuted him.
No, you have not. He's still unmuted.
You carry on with the question and let me try.
Okay. So the next question is from CAA Rambal. He's asking, sir, being a CA, as per your opinion, we can do CA practice and also valuation as an RVO, right, sir? He's asking.
This is actually the bill suggests that as per the bill, they are intending towards a full-time practice in valuation. But they have mentioned here that in the initial years there may not be a case like that, unique case like that. There may be part-time or full-time, both the thing. But that is why they have already mentioned there may be two types of certificate holders. One is those who are in full-time practice, they will get the certificate of practice, and those who are not, that is another perspective. So there may be two types of valuers in the field. There may be. Because when a bill comes, there may be some. It may not be that type of clarity in the bill. So that will be again some rules and some regulations that will come out, and there are some changes in the bills also that will happen. So that will give the clarity on different perspectives. Yeah.
Next
Anything
question
else?
is, his next question is from Sri Rama Rao. If CMA practice is countable in RV practice, my CMA practice is more than 6 years. RV practice is more than 1 year.
Yeah, what I think that this question is regarding whether this tenure or experience will be counted for this valuation practice or not. So my perspective will be, so if he or she is having maybe CMA practice, but in our CMA or chartered practice or company secretary practice, there may be some sort of valuation perspective, valuation aspects that we have to come across regularly. Different type, maybe stock, maybe share, different types of valuations. Okay, regarding some project, while you prepare some project reports, you have to go for valuation, mergers, acquisition. So if that sort of valuation things he or she has done, so that will be counted. That will be counted definitely. That will add value in his resume and his qualification. Yes.
All the questions are over.
Yeah,
Just if you can click him.
Dr. Shushanto Karar. So can you hear me, Dr. Shushanto Karar?
So Kalyan, he's mute. You have to click him and make him able. Click on his name.
Unmute.
Yeah, oh, he's not. I can see him. He's still mute.
Just hold on.
Meanwhile, if anybody has a question, can put a question in Q&A box. Mr. Mistry, you also can put a question in Q&A box because Sukalan is unable to make you unmute. Dr. Sushanta, please put a question in Q&A box.
So can you hear us?
You have to enable him, yaar. You keep putting him on mute. Click on this thing.
Question in the Q&A box.
That is open, but you can't. You are unable to do it, or what?
No, I'm yes.
Sir, requesting you, Dr. Sushanta Kanwar, requesting you to ask question in Q&A box. Also, Mr. Mistry, please put a question in Q&A box so that it can be answered because there is some system issue. We are unable to unmute you. Yeah, there is a question come. You can ask the question. No, there is no question. They have just asked. Tremendous opportunity seems. Is it? There is a tremendous opportunity in this course.
Yeah. That is actually that I've already explained that only presently there are two fields, that is as per Companies Act and as per that Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. The opportunity has been limited because the Companies Act means it's a vast area. But anyway, there are other areas like income tax, like your SEBI, Surface Act. There are so many areas, okay, where only even income tax act is a huge area. So if all the areas are being opened through this Valuers Bill 2020, that will be really a tremendous work opportunity, tremendous professional opportunities. I think somebody was asking that whether it will be full time or part time. I think they will not be even get time to eat, because if all these opportunities can be opened simultaneously, then they will get, because only 3,000 valuers, even in financial assets, land and building and plant and machinery, taking together all the three things, only 3,000 valuers. If these opportunities comes, in my mind there may be requirement of 20,000, 30,000 valuers, because presently how many
There is some link issue.
valuation? Yeah.
Any more questions? Because we have run out of the questions. So if there are no questions, we have to cut it short. Mr. Mistry, if you can ask a question in Q&A box, because we are unable to unmute you. There is one question. Let's see. MCOM passed out students are eligible for this full-time course?
MCOM passed out students are eligible
For this course.
Okay. So presently there is no, presently the course which is going on, there is no scope for MCOM passed out. But for the valuers rule, they have specifically mentioned that there will be 10+2 and the graduate. So MCOM will come under the graduate. They have to enter into this arena through some screening test that will be in a national basis. So I think MCOM will be, actually in the bill, it is everything is not totally written that who will be eligible, but in my belief that it is written already. High secondary pass students will be eligible for national program, and the graduate, they will be of 2 years program. So under this graduate option, that MCOM will come automatically. They will come under this area. They will come.
Okay, there is a question from Mr. John. Is there any way to control the dominance of RV entities, entities?
I can see the question, just a minute.
Yeah, is there any way to control the dominance of RV entities?
Control the dominance of RV entities. It is not totally clear to me. RV entities means what? RV is the registered valuer. The registered valuer, if he is talking about RVOs or registered valuers, I'm not. Actually, what happened, I'm just giving a broad perspective of the thing, what I understand. Say it will be totally controlled by the National Institute of Valuers, and it will be a 3-tier system. So first, just try to understand. 3-tier system means National Institute of Valuers, they will give permission to the Valuer Institute to impart the course. The Valuer Institute may be a university, institute, or a valuer professional organization. And then last year will be the valuer professional organization. They will be giving that CP, that is the continuing professional education and training research for the valuers. So this will be the structure, and on the top of the helm of the affairs, it will be that National Institute of Valuers. So everything will be conducted, everything will be dominated, or everything will be, rules and regulations will be controlled by National Institute of Valuers, and there will be some sort of controlling power with this valuer professional organizations as well as valuer institute also. So I believe this type of dominance will be there, but this will be controlled by, overall controlled by the National Institute of Valuers.
Yes, and you know, Mr. Jagdish Chandra Babulal Mistry is there, right? Jagdish Chandra Babulal Mistry. Can you hear us? Yeah,
You're
no,
not
there is a yeah. I have unmuted.
No, Baba. I can see is muted. Okay. Meanwhile, we'll take this question from Mr. Sriram Rao. In which category I will fall? CMA 6 years, RB 1 year, fellow needs only 5 years. K. Shamarao, Hyderabad.
Yeah. You just see, I just go by the what this draft bill has suggested. There are 3 categories. There are 4 categories actually they have mentioned. The one category is that 10 plus 2. Anybody can come in this category 10 plus 2. In the graduation, also any graduate they can come. Again, in the limited that examination where they are having 5 years of experience, there may be a CMA with a 5 years experience. They can come 5 years experience. Okay. That is 400 hours. And presently, the 4th category is the presently who are doing this registered valuer course and pass this registered valuer, become the registered valuer, they will be automatically this registered. So we should not be confused about that. So if, okay, so now if some professionals, they have some reservations regarding this categorization and everything, they can definitely give some comments in that to the MCA portal, because with these presentations and with the deliberation, we are igniting you about the various facets of this act rules and this bill, so that it will be sensitized. So this is my submission.
Yeah. Is this course a full-time course, valuer course, or a part-time?
Yeah, when it will come under the National Institute of Valuers, it will become definitely a full-time course, because it will be a 4-year course. 3 year, this is like a total graduation, post-graduation level course, integrated course. 3 years plus 1 year internship. Again, when you get 2-year course, 1 year plus 1 year. This is a totally full-year course. Basically, it will be a totally full-time course. So.
And they can join after 12th or graduation.
Graduation, right? And only one option is there for 400 hours. That is limited option. Yeah.
So we have run out of questions.
Yeah,
so
I think this is the question actually.
Yeah.
In which category
So Kalyan, you are cracking.
Sorry, Mr. Angelo, you can, because the voice is.
We have asked that question, but okay. So in fact, Sukalan was supposed to give a thank you note, but we are unable to listen to him. So on behalf of him, I'm speaking. Dr. Nandy, it was an excellent presentation. We thank you very much for coming aboard here and igniting minds of more than 70 people here who joined for this webinar to understand this course on valuation. And I strongly believe that it must have immensely helped them. And if they have any questions, they can definitely ask questions to you. So if you could just give your email ID again from the presentation or something, that will be very nice. Or you can put in a Q&A box. So they also, they can put in questions in person if they want in near future.
Okay, I can put there, no?
Yeah, you can put the, so at least they are aware to ask any questions to you.
Yeah. I can write somewhere.
Yeah, you can go to chat down.
I'm there, chat.
Click on chat and then you can write it down at the bottom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, meanwhile, all the participants, we are really very much grateful to you for joining on this webinar from Business Standard. We hope and believe that you are immensely benefited out of the immense knowledge of Dr. Nandy. And if you have any questions, please do. He's writing his email ID in the chat box. You can write down that email ID. He has already written. It is ceo@rvoicmai.in. So please send your email to him, and he'll be happy to answer all your questions. Meanwhile, if you want to put the draft bill and put your suggestions to the government, corporate office,
it will be, even you can send your suggestions to me. We are compiling it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Nandy, and God bless you for giving your time for us. And thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. from Business Standard. Thank you and goodbye, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Business Standard team.
Thank
Stay
you.
home,
Thank you,
stay
sir.
safe.